Okay, this is Drive Home Reviews, Volume 1, featuring Mark McLean and myself, Robert Mayers. We just saw Jeff Who Lives at Home.
Yes.
Starring Jason Segel and Ed Helms. What is your initial thoughts, Mark?
My initial thoughts were I thought it was a very feel-good, kind of short movie. Overall, I liked it a lot. I mean, at first I thought it was going to be really depressing.
Which it was at first a little bit.
Yeah. It had all the characteristics of that standard kind of indie movie, kind of the clicky clacky music, like just the weird zooming in and out,
like 80s decor in the houses.
Yeah.
And generic. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And I don't know, the characters obviously all of their flaws in the beginning, so I thought it was just gonna be depressing throughout the whole thing, but it was a nice little pick me up at the end of the day.
It's the type of movie that I think is, if you replace Jason Segel and Ed Helms with two generic lead actors, it would have been a shit movie.
Yeah, it would have been just kind of, yeah, you're right. The story would have been silly and kind of stupid, and it would have been, yeah, very throwaway. The story itself isn't great. I mean, it's stretching imagination.
Right. I mean, up until the end, it was your generic coming-of-age tale, which it kind of was anyways.
Yeah.
But just, it really showed the versatility of Jason Segel, I think, in a more dramatic role.
He's an incredibly likable guy.
Right.
Which I think if you put him in anything, he's going to be... I don't think he has the greatest amount of range as an actor, but I think if you put him in certain roles, he'll be likable no matter what. So any type of movie in that, I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I can't really think of a movie where he...
Like, he'll never be an action hero. In that sense, you know what I mean?
Right. Which is fine, because he's found his niche, what he's good at.
Yeah.
And he's doing it.
And then some roles by, a little tiny part by Susan Sarandon.
That part was weird to me, that section of the movie. Basically, the movie itself was about Jeff, who lives at home, figure it out. He's kind of unemployed, just smokes a lot of weed, doesn't really do much. And his brother is sort of a deadbeat. I think he worked at a paint shop.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit, he was kind of pretentious, even though he had a position that wasn't that.
For some reason, I couldn't get Colin Farrell's character from Horrible Bosses out of my mind. He was like a more laid-back version of that character.
Yeah.
Just overly douchey.
Yeah.
A kind of shitty job.
Cares too much about materialistic things.
Yeah.
And not that much about his wife.
So that role was interesting, but then, like you said, Susan Sarandon played the mother, who worked at just a generic, boring office and started getting flirtatious instant messages and paper airplanes thrown at her cubicle.
Yeah.
And what did you think of her role?
I liked her in it. I thought she was good for what she was. I mean, she played kind of this... Everyone's in a rut in the movie, no matter what. I mean, any way you look at it. Susan Sarandon's in kind of like a sexual rut.
Yeah.
So she looks for this spark, which is in like the secret admirer from her office. And, I don't know, I think she played the kind of like depressed, kind of pathetic, house mom kind of role really well. She reminded me of my mom. I mean, I would say my mom's depressed, but in the movie she reminds me of your mom. That's like the way I think they tried to play it.
That's a good way to look at it.
Like, it feels like my mom in The Office. Like, I don't know. And then it turns out should we give it away? What happens?
Let's say I don't know how far we should go and if we should give away endings here or not.
Spoiler alert, reviews?
Spoiler alert. Put it on mute for the next 10 seconds.
Turns out she likes box. I mean,
she doesn't like box so far. I think she more likes companionship. Right. I think is the right way to put it.
Okay, that's what.
So the secret admirer who's sending IMs via AIM in the office as screen name Anonymous 9898.
Yeah, that's a lot of detail there. Amazing.
Was ended up being a woman.
Yeah, one of her female coworkers. But and then I didn't see that as when it first came up. I'm like, well, so now she's gonna try liking girls now. But it never got to that point where she was. You know, I always thought it was more about, like you said, companionship.
Right.
Than it was sexual.
They had the one playful kiss.
Yeah.
Just a quick little playful kiss. But then it just seemed to be more of a companion thing because her husband was dead since 1995, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it's just more of that.
So that was kind of, again, at the end of the story, you like every character more.
Right.
Than you did at the start of it. Whereas you kind of think Jason Segel's whole, like, he's obsessed with signs and kind of destiny. And that's kind of like cheeseball, stupid way of thinking in real life. But at the end of the movie, you like him more. Ed Helms, like you said, is a douchey, pretentious.
But then he ends up turning it around towards the end.
Exactly. And then Susan Sarandon, just you feel better for her because she finds
she's happy at the end of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved the opening monologue when it was just zoomed in on Jason Segel's face, talking about the plot of the movie Signs.
Yeah, which is probably it's a terrible, I don't think it's not a terrible movie. I think it's the most mediocre movie.
Yeah, it's a generic movie.
M. Night Shyamalan movie that he's overanalyzing. Not overanalyzing, but he's giving way too much praise to.
Really deeply into this average M. Night Shyamalan movie.
No.
And they zoom out and he's just taking a shit. I think recording himself, Mark McLean 2006 style, into a portable tape recorder.
Getting his thoughts down.
His insights into the movie.
Which the perfect ending when discussing the plot of Signs is to stop it with someone taking a shit.
Yes.
Like that's the perfect period or exclamation point on the synopsis of Signs. So that was really funny.
And as silly as it was, it ended up being sort of just like a little precursor to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, what it was, the water.
Yep.
I didn't think about that.
Water. Oh yeah, shit. I just meant.
I don't know if that was maybe on purpose or what. But I like the movie because I mean I go into indie movies, especially like that, indie type of silly movies, and I just your expectations aren't they're not high to begin with.
No,
I forgot this movie came out.
Yeah,
and so I never really think too much of it. And then when it doesn't disappoint, I usually see it as a good movie.
Yeah, and it was done by the guys who directed Cyrus. I don't know if you knew that. The guy. You ever see the movie?
I've never seen Cyrus.
Cyrus is a Jonah Hill. He's like a weird creep son of Marissa Tomei.
Oh, really?
And John C. Reilly starts dating Marissa Tomei.
Huh.
And weird, creepy Jonah Hill is overprotective son who still lives with her, and that's a fun movie.
I've never seen that. When did that come out?
That was probably like 2010.
Okay.
That was a good movie.
One thing I will say, well, actually, I should say, do you have any complaints with the movie at all?
Complaints? I mean, like I said, I love Ed Helms and Jason Segel are two of my favorite. Jason Segel especially is probably one of my favorite actors, comedic actors today. Like I said, he's good in everything he's in. He's funny, nice, likable. The only thing that I didn't like about it was just like a generic story.
Right.
But like it was character driven, so you can overlook the generic story with the great roles that these three actors played in it. And do you have any glaring complaints?
The only thing I can say is I don't like the camera work in it.
Yeah, it's glitchy, right?
Yeah, I don't like that. Like, I know it's a stylistic thing, and I guess that's it. But to me, I don't like. It takes me out of the story than it really compels me when I see the moving camera and the zoom in and out. And again, you get used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it's just so difficult to get into it. Yeah.
It gets tiring because you're focusing on that instead of the actual movie.
That'd be and you had a good point too. I think take away those actors and it's a pretty average movie, but overall,
yeah, like think of it being. Yeah, I guess you could make an excuse, but if it was like Ryan Reynolds and
put John Candy in Die Hard, it's not gonna be the same thing. Well, actually,
that'd still be
fucking
awesome.
Yeah, that was a bad example. That would have been awesome. If you put Christian
Hanks.
Slater in Die Hard, it would have been fucking the pits, if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, it is all about actors as much as it is characters, and I think that they played these characters pretty well.
Yeah. So out of 10, what do you give Jeff Lives at Home?
I'm giving this a solid 7.
Yeah, I was thinking around a 7 or 7.5 as well.
7 for me.
And just for the future, these drive home movie reviews, your ratings out of 10 are based on your expectations of this movie, not on the greatest movie.
Exactly.
Which I hate that. Side note, people on the internet are fucking idiots about that. Which is back and forth banter.
You like to give it a 7? No, look, 7 is relative. If we're driving home from The Dark Knight Rises and I give it a 7,
that's disappointment.
It's pretty much a disappointment because you're expecting it to be a 10 when you're going in.
Yeah.
This, like I said, up until it's 3:30 right now. At 1 o'clock this afternoon, I forgot this movie existed. So.
And you're coming out of it with a 7.
Coming out of it with a 7. So I think that's a good 7.
All right, so I think we'll wrap up the first edition of Drive Home Reviews.
Fun.
For Mark McLean,
signing off.
Rob Mayer signing off.